doesn't mean that Quincy Jones is like better today than Young Chop is today because the Young Chop, well, at the time had the market. So
Right.
it all plays into it.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah. So okay, I wrote down a couple things. So what is your kind of like your main goal with learning all this stuff, or are you trying to do like I did when I started? I went in, I didn't really have an idea, and as I went, the the promised land kind of started to show itself to me.
For sure. For sure. Well, just kind of like a little bit we were speaking over the phone, basically just to provide more value in any given situation,
Okay.
for myself and others. Like I got the farm repair business going on right now, got the music website going on. So I also feel like that additional information will also not only provide value to my situation, but others, in other situations that I walk into, whether I'm providing value in a business situation or music, creative, whatever, um, just to have that knowledge of having control and being able to create, um, I guess, something out of nothing, so to speak,
Yeah.
web speaking. And yeah, also I feel like it gives me a better sense of self, just learning more skills as well. So
Yeah, that makes sense because I'm sure that you've been into technology since you were a kid, and you just kind of didn't have the direction to go with it. That makes sense.
yeah, yeah, like just from like the early days, basically we had an E-machines computer. I don't know if they still make those now, but uh, I would basically just be on there, just like getting to know the computer overall, not just surfing the web, but learning certain things like where everything is, like network settings, things like that. I was just basically like playing with the computer, just getting to know it.
Yeah, I got you.
So,
I was doing the same thing, just trying to figure out just this. There's all these things built in. What does it do?
hmm
Yeah, that's cool.
yeah,
So I kind of it kind of makes sense that someone told you to learn Java in a way. It makes a lot of sense actually for
hmm
certain reasons, then it doesn't make sense for other reasons. So, did someone tell you that Java was the direction that you should go?
yeah. Well, I was doing research. I had just did a little of my own research, and I was just looking online. I watched a YouTube video, um, and this guy was basically saying like, uh, if you're going to get started, into this world, Java would be the ideal situation because he described how it covers front and back end and
Mm-hmm.
how that applies to other languages and how it all kind of ties in together.
Yep.
But he was basically saying that Java is that glue, so to speak.
Okay. Yeah, it makes sense. Like that. That is true. So I don't want to say that anything that he's saying is wrong because the thing that Java will do for you is it'll get you the most stable opportunities that will last the longest. So basically, Java is the language that big places with the word enterprise use.
Okay.
So you know that that building by Mayfair, like a little bit past Mayfair, is heading towards like Brookfield, kinda. There's like a big tech, not really a tech building. There's a big business building on Mayfair Road. I don't know if you've been
And it
past there.
has like a lot of offices in it.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. It's like, but it's not. It's so it's past like that Walgreens
Yep.
too,
Past
going
Dave and
down. It's like a
Buster's.
business park, right? I think
Yep.
it's like a business park. Yeah.
All right. So they definitely hiring hella Java in there, and that's kind of the point I'm trying to make is that you're gonna go into hang out with those people doing Java, like no
Yeah.
doubt. So, and that's the thing about that scenario is there's nothing wrong with it in a way, but then there's something totally wrong with it for me. So the thing with that for me is that I don't fit into that culture because I feel like I represent something that they don't want to support.
Okay.
I come in with the big afro, I come in confident enough to pass all their every kind of test they throw at me, I'm
Yeah.
prepared for them. So even doing well doesn't work there for me. So then working there, it's like you just get all the toxicity that those type of people will give to you, like the micromanagement, the kind of unappreciativeness of the fact that you are doing things that are really difficult. So
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
I hate to bring race into it, but it really feels like that's the case for me.
For sure. No. And I felt that as well in a phone repair world as well. I felt that to a degree where I go into this situation and I'm not thinking about race. I'm
Yep.
thinking about tech,
Yep.
and others in that world don't, like you say, they don't really appreciate a person coming in with those skills already,
Right.
and bringing value. And I feel like that is underappreciated. Not more so with customers, because I feel like they really do appreciate that, but it's the culture at where I work. Kind of work kind of tying into what you were saying.
Yeah. No, that makes total sense. it's like it's all good until you trying to get some money.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't want to pay you. We don't want to see you be successful. So I'm saying that to say that not only is that Java, but that is the tech industry as a whole. Like even the coolest jobs, you'll get that for. So you have to view it as kind of like a numbers game from the jump. Like you got to have your skills down. You got to be ready for the interview. Then you got to just go in there and know that it's a numbers game. Know that you're
Hmm.
going to go in there. They're going to try to piss you off because you're getting everything right. And it's like, okay, you're getting everything right. Great. We still don't like you. So, like, I just had the situation happen here. Like, I kind of decided to stop looking and try to pursue my own type of business venture because I had like the perfect situation here where it's like there's jobs that you apply to that you get interviews, which are totally
Hmm.
different than jobs that you end up getting an interview through someone else.
Right, right.
Basically, the ones through a person, it usually just goes so much simpler because they kind of trust that person, and then they're kind of open arms to you. So I went into a interview a couple weeks ago. I was super prepared for it, like beyond prepared, and basically the way that I'm gonna say it is they ended up telling me that I was cocky because I got everything right,
Wow.
rather than saying like, "Wow, you're exactly the type of person we're looking for the rate we're looking for." It was like this dude's cocky, and it's like it's kind of shit because it's like, dude, I just like got turned down by so many companies for not knowing everything. Now I know everything I need to know, and now it's like, okay, so now you don't like my attitude about knowing the things I need to know. So now I have to work on that too to get in. What about once I work on my attitude? Then what's the problem? You know?
Exactly, exactly. And I mean, and also I feel like that's subjective. Because
Absolutely.
if somebody else were doing the interview, they could have had a total different outlook of that. He could have been saying that based on he was having a messed up day and just said you had a bad attitude.
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't even say it's bad. So this is the company right here. I'll just show you. This is a little WordPress website I had to make for them. It's like they wanted me to make like a little a task to show them that I could like code at all.
Hmm.
So I tried to go a little above and beyond, and made a little animation come in. It's like Pirate Lags and me, and then it's got like
Hmm.
home, why Pirate Labs, why me. And then it's got like the interview task. Let's take a look inside, get started.
Okay.
So then here I just kind of they wanted me to explain why I was a good fit. So I said they got a good culture, they got a nice portfolio. They made the Atlanta Hawks website, and then it looked like they kind of encourage self growth. And
Okay.
like this looks pretty good. I got the logo there, the hover works, and then it was like why me, and it was I just kind of told them I work hard, I'm versatile, I'm a team player, and then I even threw this in right here, and I guess they wasn't fucking with this. Like I don't get it.
And man, that avatar is serious though.
I know.
I I would actually love to work with that dude as well
Yeah.
on some stuff that I'll be trying to work on for the music. But so basically, this is more like this was your entryway, like for the interview, or this was like okay, you went to go talk to someone and then they give you a task like okay, show us that you can really do this, make a website.
Yep. And they weren't expecting anything of this level. Like they were expecting just the most basic thing, 3 pages. And I just
Yeah.
went above and beyond because I know that people like that, you know. And in the other companies I work for, a person goes above and beyond. They're praised, especially a white. It's usually a white person that goes above, a white male or female. They go above and beyond. They're praised. They're like given a promotion. So I did the same thing. It was like they called me cocky.
And then also, while you on your why section, I feel like that was a pretty good section because um, it's not, truth is spoken in so very words. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
It's not like you had a whole page essay about you and what you do. This is the straight up who you are and what you do.
Yep.
It's not a whole bunch of gibberish and all of that stuff you can get lost in. It has the very basics: who I am, why I want to do this. you know.
Yeah, it's got all the interests here, and then I tied it all together, and then I even got the eye patch on for the pirate.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, so this was basically the way this worked. This basically turned me off from applying to jobs, but I'm starting again because I know it's a numbers game, and it's just like talking to girls. It's like you can't let your feelings get hurt, even though it does hurt a little bit. You can't let them like. You got to figure out a way to shake it off because
Yeah.
basically with this, it was like I was on LinkedIn. It was this black girl that works there, and I actually didn't even know her. She like added me on LinkedIn. I had applied to the company, but
Hmm.
she had just coincidentally added me like the same week. So then I talked to her. I was like, "Hey, what's up? I see you're a developer." And then she was like, "Do I know you?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm just nah. We just connected. I was just trying to meet some developers." And then she
Hmm.
was telling me like, "Oh yeah, I work at this place. It's really sweet. You should try to get in here. We could use a black person in here."
Okay. Oh well,
Basically,
she must have been like one of the very few. Because I know even in those corporate situations, I feel like they do like to throw some color in there,
yeah, yeah.
especially a woman, especially a black woman.
Especially a black woman. That's the thing because it's
So
like they're like they're non-threatening to an extent. It's not like they're non-threatening. It's like they don't have as much fighting against in a certain way. In a certain way, it's not like they don't. You see all these white people, and then it got the black girl. So she's the one who got me up in there.
hmm
And
yeah,
then
but it's always that when it's a straight black man, it's always a threat. It
that's
always come it's always threatening.
man
Um,
sis.
I've dealt with that as well on my job, being a black tech.
Yep.
I've dealt with people just trying to give me a hard time just because,
Yep.
like their phones fixed, everything works, but they still want to give me a hard time.
Man, and it's like I feel like as leaders in this area, we have to be the ones taking those licks, but also like we got to be okay with taking the licks at the same time. You got to come up with strategies to dismantle them because they're not going to stop. In order to make money the way that we need to make money, it's like we need to interact with people outside of our race. As
For sure.
unfortunate as that is, but it's like there's a huge resistance to that. So it's like
Hmm.
we have to have basically we got to have a theory, just like the software theory, music theory. You got to have a theoretical understanding of this is going to happen, just like people prepare for interviews because it's a theoretical game. There's like this is the same thing because I deal with the same thing. I was living in LA. I was living with this white dude. I thought we were pretty decent friends, and then it was like, damn, bro, you made this black versus white male thing. I get more hoes than you. Who gets more hoes thing? And it was
Hmm.
like, bro, I'm out here to like expand my career. I'm
For
not here
sure.
to try to go party or nothing like that. I'm not trying to like, beat you at anything. Like we should be collaborating here.
Right. And all the women and all that is a byproduct of of the career going to where it's supposed to. All that comes with that.
Right.
So it's no reason not be up here just chasing women. I can do that in any city, anywhere.
And the thing also, yeah, facts. And the thing is, like, that doesn't get you anywhere. Like, I'm at a point right now that I've just watched so much AMS and Red Pill MGTOW stuff that
Yeah,
I'm just, bro, I'm like beyond women. Like, not like saying I'm better than them or nothing. It's just like, dude, I get it. I look back knowing all these things. I could see all the places that I was manipulated, all the places that I did the wrong thing, and it's like, man, I could move past all that. The whole time I was staying true to myself, so I could live with
exactly.
that. And now it's like, all right, so the thing that's gonna set me up is this career side of things. So I'm putting 100% in here, and maybe I'll go network with this stuff, and maybe I'll get some residual that way. But other than that, I'm really just about the, you know, trying to have a nice place to live with, you know, constant flow of high quality clients and collaboration, and um,
Yeah,
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 that's basically it.
yeah. Same here, man. Like I'm looking to get my own setup. Continue providing value in the markets that I'm currently in, and I feel like this will all tie into that. Um, because a little bit about my situation. Basically, I was doing business with a guy, and we kind of stopped doing business together. He just like pulled a lot of snake moves.
That sucks.
I probably told you about that. Like my whole iMac computer,
Yep.
he had it, and it was apparently stolen. And he actually got me into this world because he basically built the infrastructure of the WordPress site.
Yep.
But he said, "I'm not going to edit it. You have to basically take control of the design and everything. I'm gonna just build it up, but you have to learn, uh, you know, the ins and outs and everything. You're basically going to develop it yourself." And with that, I was into WordPress, so I had a whole website on there. We stopped working together years later. Fast forward, and basically I got on Weebly, so I was running my site through there. But the control, especially like the way it translates from PC to mobile, I didn't really like the results I was getting on the mobile end, and I didn't really have control over like how the menus and everything was looking. Like everything was like smaller on the computer but bigger on mobile, and there's no way to like edit like how big like menus and stuff are on the mobile version. So I'm kind of handicapped here because I can't really edit the site how I want to edit it with this platform.
Yeah. So with those builders like that, they are. I feel like they are an introduction to solving your problem, but they are actually a distraction.
Mm-hmm.
So like Wix, Weebly, I know there's more. They're kind of a distraction for the direction you want to go. The thing that's good about them is they have good design. A lot of the
Mm-hmm.
times for the the web version, like the
Yeah, the web versions are great, but the way it translates to mobile, specifically with Weebly, because I never tried Wix or nothing like that, but specifically with Weebly, just like how my menus and my B store looked uh, on the mobile site and everything, just the edits and everything I was making was like four times bigger on like the mobile version, where it was like just everything was kind of all out of whack.
I
So
wonder they might have tools in there that lets you edit the mobile sizing that you might I might have to look into that to see
okay,
just in case cuz that could solve a lot of your problems, but I would definitely push you in the direction of WordPress. So
okay.
um I'm going to
Yeah,
try
and
to
the great thing about it is it's familiar territory. I've
yeah.
used I've kind of used it before. I kind of got this joint
Oh, you in
couple.
it.
I got this from Half Price Books for like $6.
Oh, you on it, bro.
So I've been just kind of holding on to this thing. Uh, like I said, like the signs and everything is like it's calling like something's calling me towards this.
Yeah.
Like it's nothing I just even sat down and just was like, I want to be a web dev, but it's always been in my mind, in the back of my mind. So
That's kind of deep. All right, check this out. That's a good segue. There's this website called smtebooks.com. For some
uh oh,
reason,
uh oh.
yeah,
I'm about to say they don't want us to get the
I'm gonna have to chill out real quick though. Hey, I'm gonna let you look it up on your side, cause I'm
Okay.
actually got this screen recorded.
Okay. SME books.
SMTE.
SMTE. SMTE books. Online books to read and download. Free PDF.
All right, bro. Type in WordPress.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
I can't no, but I already know.
Okay. WordPress. WordPress.com.
You can just type in WordPress
Okay.
and then just do a search.
All right.
You should have like some results, like 6 books.
Oh, actually in the SMTE books and then search
Yeah,
WordPress.
there's
Okay.
a search
Got you
bar.
covered. All right. Then type in WordPress. Oh, okay. WordPress 4.x complete. WordPress all in one for dummies. WordPress allies and enemy ban for dummies. Whoa, I don't know if I'm even pronouncing that right. WordPress complete. Oh, geez, man. Missing manual, SEO success. Jesus Christ. Wow.
So any of these terms you see over on my screen over here, you can just type any of those in, and it's like that's your resource right there. That's
Okay.
that's like half of the reason that I'm like at the level I'm at right now. It's because I
Wow.
found this website and I just been just downloading everything.
Okay. Would it be okay if I snip this theory here?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna snip this theory we
Here,
got going.
I'm gonna throw one more up there because this right here
Okay.
is called frameworks.
All right, I'll wait.
All right, you can do it.
It's lighting in here. Okay, cool. Yeah, go ahead and snip this. Currently, I'm in my bedroom, I guess, slash office. I kind of took the bed out because I'm like, I just want to do work in here, man.
I feel you.
It's I feel like putting the bed in here would have sent the wrong message, like to myself. Like this room ain't for sleeping.
I feel you, man. Hey, I mean, I got a bed right here, and it would be so much nicer without the bed, because then I could put like an electronic drum set or something. It's like
Yeah,
a totally different, even energetically, like on a psychic level. It's like, damn, I got all this room.
yep. So that's the thing I'm doing now, man. I'm like, this is the office, you
Yeah,
know,
I see a
doing work.
wall.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's the only
Got to
thing
see it
here.
every day,
Yeah. All right.
So
So I'm gonna give you just like a kind of overhead, and then I'm gonna try to break it down as much as I can. So basically, I'm gonna try to start by just explaining the way the internet works.
okay.
So uh, this is called the client. That's a computer.
Mm-hmm.
So the client is like, you're looking at the browser right now. That's the client. So the client is like how do I explain? It's like
Taking
cl-
notes too.
yeah, client is like you, and then server is the thing that's working for you. So then on the other side, there's the server. This is basically the kind of overhead of the way the internet works is client and server. So
Okay.
then there's a third server that is not as important. Well, it is, but it's called the DNS server.
Okay, I've seen that before.
Yeah. So let me throw some arrows in here. So basically, the client, which would be your browser, your Google Chrome URL address bar,
Mm-hmm.
that so you type in google.com, right? So then it goes to the DNS server, and the DNS server is like the phone book of the internet. It has all the IP address. So it's like it's like it's like 414. It's like calling 414 and asking for someone's number, and they'll be
Mm-hmm.
like, "Yeah, their number is this," right? But
Okay.
instead of giving you the number, they just direct you straight to the number. So
Okay.
that
DNS server is the phone. It's more of like a phone book for internet search or like for places you're trying to find on the internet.
yeah, on a computer level though. It's not like you can look up the DNS and it would be useful. It's like so you got your computer here, and then google.com is at Google on a computer. Like google.com is actually just a computer. Most websites, they're actually just a computer, and that computer is called a server.
Mm-hmm.
And then that server has a bunch of data on it that is making the website show. So a lot of times you go to a website, that's actually a whole computer that is serving you the the data to your computer, your client, and then you're
Mm-hmm.
showing it in the browser through HTML.
Is that what, like how like on those videos of like Google's offices and all that? They got just big machines in there, and they're all servers. They have data in them, and they're like I guess sharing information back and forth,
Basically, yeah.
so to speak.
Yeah, basically a lot of that is Google's so big that they need millions of not millions, probably thousands, but they need so many servers because they have just imagine Google, man. Like, man, they probably
It's
have like 3 floors of servers.
right, because that's everybody's go-to place when they need to find something.
Right. Plus they have their other services that also need a ton of servers. Like even as Google Docs right now, Google Drawing, Google Mail, all that. So
Wow.
yeah, some of that stuff is just back end data for the internal stuff, but I honestly probably believe that yeah, all their stuff is hosted on their own servers because it's Google. Like I doubt Google's gonna use Amazon servers.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, then there's server providers. So like Amazon provides servers. Um, there's like Bluehost. There's like GoDaddy.
Rapid Gator, not Rapid Gator. I said that the wrong. Something Gator. The Gator host Gator, Gator
Yeah,
host or something
HostGator.
like
Yep.
that. GoDaddy would be another one, right?
Yep.
GoDaddy, just basically places where basically like your website is like the property that you're renting.
Yep.
The server is like the landlord.
Basically, yeah, that's it. So yeah, I can just kind of explain the way that works. So it's like you go to GoDaddy, you're actually just buying the server here from them. You're not actually always buying the DNS server. So the DNS server is your domain.
Mm-hmm.
It's not exactly, but that's the purpose of the DNS server. Is it takes it from being an IP address to being a domain. So
Okay.
um, yeah, you buy the server space, which is just like a computer space. They usually give you like maybe a gigabyte, maybe a terabyte, and then you have to go buy the domain, which is the thing that you tell the DNS server, so people know. The server comes as an IP address
Mm-hmm.
initially, so you could get straight to your server through the IP address, which would be just these 4 numbers. Then the DNS, you buy the domain, and you tell the DNS that this domain I'm buying, I want it to be linked to this IP address that the server is giving me.
Okay, so I see it's all connected.
Yeah, right. So then on your server, um, you have all this stuff here, which is this is all the tech basically. So apps are hosted on servers. Websites are hosted on servers. All types of things. Even like some desktop apps. They're not usually, but for sure,
Like Trello.
Trello, Evernote. Yep, those are all on servers, and they're all using frameworks. And it seems kind of daunting at first until you start to get it, and then you're like, dude, I could have been studying this stuff 10 years ago. Like if I just
Yeah.
had any push in the right direction, because it's not that difficult.
Hmm.
So basically, the the browser here. Let's uh let's just take their website. So the browser here. This is everything you see here is HTML and CSS. So HTML, let's just go straight to my favorite website is codepin.com because you just get to just do stuff without really thinking about it.
Hmm. Just more so like trial and error. So this is basically the platform that you use to just basically like it's like a sketch pad.
Exactly. It's like a sandbox, yeah. So here it gives it to you like this. It gives you HTML, CSS, JavaScript. So the purpose of HTML, it's like I kind of describe it as it's like dropping a block of marble on something,
Hmm.
right? And then the CSS, it's like chiseling the marble to look
Okay.
good. And then JavaScript, it's like putting a it's like allowing the the structure to do something.
Okay.
So HTML and CSS don't do anything. The stuff gets done in JavaScript. So it's kind of like the action is in JavaScript. So I'm gonna just try to demonstrate real quick. We're just gonna do something kind of basic. Let's do a button.
Okay. Oh, it's like an actual like click this.
Yep. So I did that way too fast.
That is cold.
I did that way too fast. So you can follow along. Actually, that it might be helpful if you opened up CodePen.
Okay. I think I do have an existing account already. Hey, quick question. Do you think it makes more sense to does the operating like does the computer matter when you're doing code? Does it make sense to do it on a Mac or that you know?
Nah, none of that stuff matters. The only thing that really matters is your comfort. It's just kind of coming up with a process that you like.
For sure.
Because there's a lot of different ways to think about it, and it's another thing that I had a problem with at a job. Is like I don't know. I'm just seeing race as being a huge uh, pain point in my life. Like I feel
Yeah.
like it causes all my problems. So it's like I'll be
Okay.
at work and I'll work a certain way, and the other person I'm working with, even though everything works fine, they're like, "Hey, I don't want you to work that way." Even though it's like you can't really tell someone they can't work a certain way.
Yes, especially for that because I feel like it's all subjective to me. Like how like I'm hearing it. It's like it's kind of like art. Like you can't
Yep.
say this art is wrong, but this art is right. I guess so to
Yeah.
speak. Once you
It's
get the fundamentals,
yep.
it's like who's to say this is wrong? Like it's all subjective, in my opinion.
Yeah, and even more to expand on that is like it's like a brush. It's like okay, the brand of brushes. It's like, bro, you can't tell me I can't use this brand of brush. Like I really like this brand of brush. It has a pencil on the back and it has a brush on the front. Like this really works for me. You're not gonna convince me to use a brush and a pencil. Like
Hmm.
it's basically kind of that. It's like you're not gonna convince me not to use an art kit. You know, I'm not gonna go buy like a bunch of pencils, a bunch of erasers, a bunch of different types of paper. Like this art kit right here, someone really smart already figured all this out for me. So
Crazy.
yeah, so
All right. So I'm just resetting my password. Your password reset email should arrive. Check spam folder. Okay.
It really pisses people off to use CodePen though, because the thing about CodePen, it's so cold that it takes away all of the setup time. That takes most of the time to learn, and it's not that useful.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like people who've been in it for years, they had to go through that process of learning all this stuff. It took them
Now it's
years.
like, damn.
Yep, and they're pissed.
I gotta resend the link. Could just log in with Twitter or something. Oh yeah, they're tripping. Still don't see it yet.
I want to show you something real quick.
Okay, cool. Yeah, get back to the video.
I mean, you can keep going. I just want to show you what I've been working on.
Okay, yeah, let's check it out.
All right. I'm trying to make beats better.
Man, who you telling, bruh? And it's not only that. I feel like a lot of people with decent beats, it's the marketing.
Man, success in life is marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Period. It's like marketing plus communication, which communication is part of marketing.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I made this thing right here. All the samples I've came up with over the years. I'm gonna try not to make this too loud. If this blows your ears out,
I'm used to it.
is that good? Can you even hear that?
Mm-mm.
Oh, you can't even hear that. Let me see. All right, I gotta turn this on.
You got a what's that called? You got a what speaker is that? Is that a Harman Kardon?
Oh, you're yeah.
I work they sell them at my Sprint store. That's how I know.
Yeah, it's the HK5.
Yeah, that's the handle, the one with the handle on it. I like the fours, but the legs kept falling off.
Yeah, I got the purse. I fucked around. I had the
Yeah.
4 in LA, and I really liked the 4. I just decided I was gonna take the risk, and I mean, I don't know that I made a good decision or not, but it sounds pretty good regardless.
Yeah, the 6 is out now. It's apparently waterproof. Don't know why you would need a speaker in the water, but I guess.
That's weird.
Yeah,
All right, so check this out right here. I got so it's like you get a random drum break each time you press one of these.
It's all random.
Yeah,
That's cool. You can loop it. You can like literally go to a certain point on a sample and take that.
Yep, and then down here you got these pads.
Wow, and then you even got controls for reverb, decay. Oh my god. And you can add your MIDI controller too?
Yep. And got like this little thing here. I'm just getting to the last thing right here.
Oh, so that's like the piano roll.
Yep. That's like a looper for drums. So this is the best right here.
Okay.
forgot to. All right, let me try one more.
And you can record too.
I forgot the important part.
Yeah, record.
Yeah, so I could like. I'm really trying to be a music developer. Like I'm trying to make like Ableton and Fruity Loops.
I was thinking about that earlier, man.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of got it figured out, kind of direction to go. I don't have it totally done, but.
Dog, that's cold.
It freezes sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
so it just froze there, which sucks because that was a nice beat. Because then you could download it. I just want you to see it.
And then you're making it easy as well.
Right. It's really the most of the work doing it this way is that you just got to collect your samples, the sounds that you know that you like.
Some people don't like the way.
So yeah, there's that one. That's the latest one. And this is the one I had right before that. This kind of direction I could steer you in if you decided to.
Would you say it took a lot of man hours too?
Just the understanding, really. I mean, this is really all inspiration based. Like, well, I'd say yeah, for sure. So figuring these things out takes so much man hours. Now, on the other side, now that I understand these things, it's like, all right, it's really not that hard.
Mm-hmm.
But getting that understanding is super hard.
Right.
So this is just like a drum machine that I have like synthesizers on the numbers in the first row of like QWERTY. So it's like a synth there. It has different chords like minor sevenths, major sevenths. And then these right here are like random. I just put my whole collection of samples in here.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can kind of just go through here to choose a random sound. Choose a random kick. Ah, shit.
I like the quotes too, man.
Yeah, I put that in there just like it's just like a whole vibe, you know, just take you out of the programming of reality into alternate reality.
Little reminders.
Right.
It's definitely a vibe.
That's it. That's enough showing off.
That's something people can actually subscribe to though.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out a way to make it a business to make money from it.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, I have to put that together. But that's the beauty of WordPress. And then all these things I'm gonna teach you are like these are the things that I'm doing. Like I'm not teaching you nothing that I'm not doing. Like I'm gonna cross this out right here because it's important to know. Well, I can't see the cross out. It's important to know, but I'm not doing it. Like I'm not doing no work in that direction. Like you're free to try it out if you decide to, but I kind of think that these things will make sense a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, WordPress has these things in it already. So like the beauty of WordPress is kind of a segue here. So kind of um, WordPress is really good because it has most of the things already built for you. As long as you have an understanding of the foundations, which are this, I actually call it uh, these right here. Actually, are I gotta try to push it to the back.
Mm-hmm.
But jeez, freestyling. So this corner right here, top left, is these are your foundations, the things that you absolutely should know, except Java, and
Mm-hmm.
not even that you should know them. You should just know that they exist, so then you know the way that you're interacting with things. So the front end right here that I was showing you in CodePen,
Mm-hmm.
that's this HTML, CSS, not CS. CS is something different. That's computer science, which is just kind of school. So HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. This is your kind of this is a good starting place to actually just get into programming. Then from here, you want to go into backend because you're gonna learn very quickly that you can't do that much without data.
Mm-hmm.
It's like your data is like your purpose. So uh, it's like you can just make cute stuff and you can just make them do things, but it all comes to data persistence. So the back end is for like it's like on a it's like the memory card on a PlayStation. It's like
Okay.
you play Crash Bandicoot and you hit the save. It's like you gotta have somewhere to save. So this is like your memory card.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so that's like when WordPress asks you if you want to do a backup of yours, or I think it's GoDaddy or WordPress that'll ask you if you want to do a backup of the website.
So that is taking this whole server portion right here,
Mm-hmm.
which is that's both of these.
Okay.
So the thing to know here is that for the front end, um, you have to know all three, like for sure, 100% facts. For the back end, you just need one. So this is where CodePen comes in. Now back end stuff, you're getting into like the terminal, so the command line, which it sounds kind of scary at first, but once you start to get it, it's like not that scary. So
Mm-hmm.
let's try to make a button real quick so I can show you like some.
Okay.
I can show you the HTML, the CSS, and the JavaScript just with a button.
Man, see here. Damn, I think I need to reset my code. Resend it again.
Okay. I think that I could just send you an editor, and I think you can just use it. Let's see. Let's try this out. There's this thing here. I paid for Pro, so they got this.
Ah.
It's called like Professor mode. So I've never used it before, but yeah, man, it's hard getting into this world because it's like it's just a lot of things against us pursuing this direction. It's like there's the culture and the fact that everybody kind of it's like the world works on a script, right? And then once you start getting into like entrepreneurship and then even coding, it's like you're going off that script that people they're only familiar with a couple scripts until you tell them like alternative scripts about like entrepreneurship, not having a boss. So,
Right, right, for
but I
sure.
remember when one of the first things that I did is I was teaching music. So I remember that my mom figured out at some point, I'm not really that close to my mom. So she was like making fun of me. She was like laughing at me because I was teaching music because it was like outside of her perception of what's possible in reality. Because like, our community is full of like pimps and drug dealers and kind of con artists. Like I hate to say it that way, but it's kind of like it's like most people don't go in this direction without it being selling out.
Right, right. That's real. I mean, just based on experience and what I've seen personally, ties in a lot to that.
Yeah. So yeah, just gotta know that it's like a constant.
There's a certain politics that comes along with it.
Right. That is beyond your knowledge of the skill. It's like by going in this direction, you have to be committed to not only master these things, but then you have to also master politics so that you can uh, um, even have any opportunity. Because having all the skills just makes you arrogant in these people's eyes, especially if they don't like you. And the way that they judge you is based off of the amount of fear that you put into them. So it's like you are able to get a job if you are able to present yourself in a way that kind of doesn't trigger any fear in any way. So being a straight man, it's almost impossible to like not trigger fear in like other people.
Hmm.
So that's something I'm working on. Like I'm so deep. Like I'm like watching LeBron James do interviews to see like how he answers people fucking with him in interviews. I'm like watching. I mean, I hate to reach. Like I'm watching Ray Allen. I'm watching. Like not really Kobe. Even though he's okay. I'm watching like Tracy McGrady. I mean, I'm thinking about looking at Tiger Woods because white people love Tiger Woods.
Yeah, they do.
I just got to get in there somehow. So
Yeah, exactly. And then it's kind of like, but at the same time, upholding your agenda, and
totally.
I feel like self preservation is a necessity. So
Absolutely.
we want to see the people that look like us do well, and we always have the better interests, uh, you know, for that group.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. And that's the problem. So, yeah. With that being said, um, did you get the code set up?
There was a link, right? There was a link you sent me for professional mode, I think.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm gonna try to set this
Yeah,
up.
they never. I don't know what's going on with the site, but they say I do have an account.
Okay.
Um, but let me try send password reset email. I'll keep hitting. Let's see if it comes in.
It might go to your spam or your junk or your
Oh, okay. Yeah, let me check. Let me
promotions.
check junk mail. I checked spam already.
It also might go to your social or your promotions.
What's the junk folder? Oh, here we go. Categories.
Did you try to type in code pin in your search?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm on it. I'm on it right now. It's just they won't. Uh, for whatever reason, they're not. I'm not getting that link. I'm checking all of my boxes right now, seeing if I could get my junk mail because I don't see that label.
Oh yeah, it's on the side over. It's like you got to scroll down.
Chats, mail, trash, and is empty. Categories. Unless I just make a new account with another email address.
You could do
I have,
that. I just sent you a link to Professor,
okay.
so
Check out my G.
we can see if they let you edit.
Okay. And then that was to Gmail.
Yeah, I just sent it straight through the Hangouts. It's probably on your Gmail. If you go to the bottom left, it should be in this little chat here. Oh, it's
Okay.
actually not going there. Here, I'll send it there.
Okay, cool. All right, I just got it. Let me see. Yeah, I'm in there. I'm in. Cool. Teaching one, a pen by Victor Rose.
Can you type?
Yep, let me see here. I'm, so I'm
There's
in.
there's
Okay,
another one here called collab mode. I'm gonna actually switch it.
okay. I think the view we had or the view you're in, I think it's for you to just show me, and I'm not able to make edits in this one.
Okay, let's try this one.
Okay. Let's try it now. Maybe I need to be logged in. Oh, okay, I see it.
There we
Oh,
go. Perfect. All right. All right. So this is it right here. This is the situation. All right. So I'm gonna let you make this button right here. I'm gonna just delete all this right here.
mm-hmm.
So type in button and then push tab. And then type in the thing that you want to go in the button right in there. You ready? You said purchase. I feel you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the way that this works is this first thing here, that's called an opening tag, and then this is a closing tag. So basically, um, you're telling this here that you are creating a button, and here you're telling it that the button is over now, right?
Okay, front end and back end buttons.
Yeah. So this right here, these three, this is all front end stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So I'm gonna try to relate that here. So your best friend is really the inspector. So if you go to a website, you right click and click inspect at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
That's like your best friend for learning coding. It's
I
kind of
just
like
I just did.
my bad.
Oh, my bad. It's I just did that on Gmail, and wow, I just did the inspect.
Yeah, they give you the whole sauce.
Damn.
Then you go to page source.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's the whole sauce. So
Oh, sources. Okay. And then it's actually the. I guess if you could say quote unquote cheat codes.
bruh, it's like the Prima strategy guide.
Wow.
Basically cheat codes, yeah.
Damn. Okay. All right. I'm back in the. I was just looking at an example for inspect, but that's serious business right there.
Yeah. So the way CSS works, there's a lot of ways to do CSS. Also, there's a right way and there's a wrong way to do it. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
not saying that the right way is the right way to learn it because it's more difficult to learn it that way. The wrong way, I feel, is usually uh, better to learn, and then you want to make your adjustments later on because sometimes doing things the right way the first time, you'll never get to a demo, which is really, I feel like in any type of endeavor, your goal is to get to that demo. It's like to get
Mm-hmm.
to that. You want to get that creativity bottled up as quickly as possible, and it don't matter if the bottle is, like a paper cup. Like you just got to get it stored.
Mm-hmm.
So the way CSS works, so this button here, I mean, it's just basic. It's just a square. So CSS gives you the ability to make it look differently. So let's just do a couple things here. So first you tell it the tag name. You open these braces, And then there's things that you just gotta know. So there's this website called w3schools.com. This is also your best friend. So code pin W3Schools Inspector. That's like the thing that you're not gonna learn anywhere. Is that those three is gonna get you
Okay.
as far as you can go on the front end, super quick.
Spectre. SPCTR. Oh no, that's a look like a movie.
All right, so W3 Schools right here. This teaches you everything. Like it's all here. Like I didn't realize it. This is one of the first websites I found, and I didn't realize I was on the best website of all time until I started getting deeper into it. Because right here, they got this Learn HTML tab. It literally teaches you all the HTML and then has the reference for it too. Which usually, now that I'm on the other side, I just look at the reference because it's like everything you need to know about anything is all in the glossary of that topic. So like every topic speaks in its own language, which is it's all English, of course, but then it's like a subset of English that you could literally just study the reference and then you'll learn everything. See, like these are all the different tags you can do.
Oh, okay. Man, they got it from A to Z.
Yeah. So like we skipped the learn HTML and went straight to the reference because I learn best that way because I'm kind of like I see it, let me just use it. But there's a track here that is like learn HTML and it's actually just giving you the demonstration, but I don't know. I don't really work that way.
Mm-hmm.
So here in CSS, we're going to go to the CSS reference, if I can find it. Because this is the part right here. Well, let me see. This is the part right here that we're doing now that we got the button. So you see you got the name of the tag, and then it's got the
Color, white, text align,
yeah.
font family.
Yeah. So all this stuff is from here. So these are, it's kind of a lot to consume right now, but like, so here in this button, I'm gonna just do something obvious, is make the background color. These are just memorized because I've been doing it. Teal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, it changed it.
Button. Oh, now I kind of see how it works now. You got all these sections play a part in what comes up,
Yep.
like what you create.
Yep, and these are the things you see. And then on the back end, that's like the unique data that people are going to put in generally. Unless you're making like a blog, then you're going to be the data creator. So, but this is just the front end right now, so I'm not going to try to go too far. So then here, I'm going to make the color white. So color actually usually means just the text color. So I got that color white. I'm going to do a border radius of 20 pixels. And that makes it like a circle.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to do some padding. This is just general.
My bad.
I didn't see.
Padding. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm gonna let you go change the colors, and I would just change the colors for now.
All right.
The thing about the colors is there's a reference for the color names you can use. There's a bunch of predefined ones, and then you can use RGB and hex also.
Okay. It's dope.
Yeah. And then there's
Border.
like
Okay. Oh, we can basically change.
Oh, so do you ever use the color reference at all? Is it pretty much like committed to memory at this point for you?
Nah, I use the color reference. You got to use the color reference because there's just like a lot of the colors I use are like not regular colors, like they're like pastel, and then they got their own kind of names for the the more nice looking colors. Like there's no way I'd remember like blanched almond here or burly wood or cadet blue. Like I might remember coral. So
It's funny because Twitter actually uses color reference. They use color reference for like when you edit your profile.
true, right? Yep.
I noticed that because I could never get it. I'm like, I don't even know what to type for what color I'm looking for.
Yeah, exactly. See, it's gonna everything is gonna come together. Like, dude, you're gonna realize that you've been knowing all this stuff. In a way, like you've been interacting with all this stuff. So like, it's just kind of like once you know the codes of the things you've been interacting with, then it's like, yeah, like you said, like on Twitter, you wouldn't even know that you wouldn't even know that you could do anything with those weird looking languages that is there. Like, put a
For
color.
sure.
Okay, I put a color. Like, I don't like the color I put, but then once you know that you can use a CSS colors reference, and then you can really tweak your Twitter, then it's like, oh, that's a whole different thing.
Yeah, like I've been seeing this all a while, but just didn't realize it.
Yep.
Which is cool to actually have that realization, like actually seen it somewhere.
Yep.
Um, I think Canva uses it too.
Yep. Yeah, this is just kind of the like, especially hex. Not really the names, but really hex codes is that's cross program like computer. That's just computer colors, and the way it works is it works in RGB. So it goes from zero, like the number 0 to F. So from 0 to 9, that's just the number 0 to 9. Then the letter A is like the number 10, all the way to F, which is like the number 15.
Mm-hmm.
So those are intensities. So in computers, it doesn't just go from 0 to 9. It's actually hexadecimally because you wouldn't have enough colors with just 0 to 9. So you see here, I'm not sure if you can see it, but they have like Alice blue here. Like you can see it's basically white. And then like the first two numbers, that's the red code. The second two numbers is the green code. The last two are the blue. So the first number is like the 10th. So like let's say the number 32 is like a 3 and a 2. So it's like an intensity of 30 of the first one, and then the second one is like a smaller intensity. So I say it's like decimal points. It's like the F is like a 10, the 0 is like a 1. And
Is
it's
that where the algebra comes in?
for the typical color, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just color based. So yeah, you could use any of these colors to change the color of the button. I kind of recommend you take a
That
look.
is crazy. Okay. Let's see here. I believe I was on that website. Just had it up. Oh yeah, W3 schools. Um, looks like we got our colors, CSS colors, CSS. Oh, okay. CSS color values. Okay. Oh, okay, now I found it. Okay. Damn, yeah, this really gets into detail.
Yep, then there's shades too on the right side.
They got it down to the shades, man. This is serious business.
color is really actually a super important part of coding that is underrated.
I was told in my past, stay away from red buttons because it's like stop, don't do it, don't press. Like a lot of buttons that are red mean like, hey, don't press this.
Yeah, there's definitely a kind of theory like that we follow as a culture.
Kind of like color psychology, I guess, if you will.
Yeah, that's the I was trying to say.
Um, let's see. So I can actually, as far as the color, I can actually like put the actual I can use the actual hex for in place of the actual like word yellow.
Yep.
That is sick. All right, let me see something here.
And the thing with the hex is more powerful, but it's like you don't always want to use the hex. But with the hex, you can start with a color and then you could kind of adjust the RGB from the hex that you got. So you could add like, let's say it's FF7 F50. Like you can just do like you can start taking away from the F. So you could do like DF, right? So
Mm-hmm.
5F.
Okay, let me try another color. So let's try one more here. One more hex. Oh, okay.
I would do that to the background color.
Okay. And okay, background color is at the top. Let's see. Let me just do some random stuff. Let's see. By now. Okay. As far as the padding is, that's I guess that's like the material around the actual button.
Yeah, so that's the material around the text right here.
Oh, okay.
And then, yeah, so that's important. So there's also margin, which margin, it's getting a little deep. I didn't want to take you there yet, but we could just do
Yeah.
it.
Yes.
So margin is the space around the button. The padding is the space inside the button. So check it out. Let's add let's do 40 for padding, right? So that adds
Um.
space inside, right? And then if I do 50 here, that adds space outside.
Oh, so this is literally complete control.
Yep.
You can literally move. You can literally change like the geography of the button like on a page.
Yep. It's a little deeper than this right here, but essentially, yeah, you can so I can just demonstrate real quick. Like you could do position. Now, you don't got to remember this stuff. I think the only thing to remember here is really the colors and probably these top three. So this is all extra stuff now.
Mm-hmm.
So if I do top here and do like 50%, right? Now we're literally changing the geography of it. And if I do left, like 80%, like we're literally moving that thing around.
So this is how people like literally build pages. That is, that's just another level to me.
So, in a way, yeah, it's that. But then there's like, not exactly. So
Mm-hmm.
people build some pages this way, but that's really like the impressive pages, like the pages that have the purpose of impressing. You know what I mean? Because like there's pages that are the purpose is functional. Then there's pages that it's like, damn, that page is killing, right? So
Mm-hmm.
like my the front page of my I can even kind of show you in action. The front page of my website here, like these are doing that. It's using the position absolute stuff like that
Mm-hmm.
to position them exactly. But then this stuff here, I didn't do any of that stuff on those. And then these down here, this one is, but let's see. I'm gonna show you an image next. I'm gonna get rid of this stuff because using the position tag is a little challenging because it's just a different way of working with the front end. So I'm gonna just bring the margin back. All right. So another thing here is that you got font size, and then this is in pixels too. So it's like 20 pixels. Let's just do 20 pixels. Font size 20 pixels.
Brought them up a bit.
All right, you can really get them buying it.
Can't miss it at that point.
Yeah. And then there's like font weight. And you could do like bold. You could do like bolder. I guess bolder didn't work, but you could do like 800, right? And then we could change color here to white. Right, we could change this to like teal. Right, then we could another cool thing here is you can do gradients. I like gradients on buttons, and this is CSS too. So let's see. So a lot of with coding, like I just come to this website, you just gotta kind of study the concepts over here on the side. They all give you pretty good examples, and then you just kind of study them. And then once you start making things, you kind of use these concepts as like, it's kind of just like a framework you're working under in order to just put something together. So I'm gonna use this one right here.
It's like the shade and everything. It's like get the shade and everything on that button.
Yeah, it's like all these things over here do different things. Like this is explaining padding to you.
Wow.
Right, and then like this is explaining like how to get icons in there. So it's like this is a really good website to look at also. So I'm gonna add I just copied and pasted that. Right, and then we could change the color. So I'm gonna let you change the colors of it.
Okay. All right. Would you say sometimes you have to reference these, like even in your level of expertise? Do you feel like sometimes you have to like revisit like certain aspects of like the button? Just you know.
Absolutely, yeah. So that's an important question because there's really no shame in doing that. Like I know that as like the way that I came into the game, I was thinking that okay, you need to have this stuff memorized, like unless you don't know these things, right? Because like kind of culturally, even beyond culturally, just culturally as an American, it's like there's like masters and then there's like people that are amateur, and it's like the people that are it's like you get paid accordingly. So, but it's like even if I worked at Google, it's totally fair for everybody there to know that I am using references to do my work. I'm Googling to do my work. Like that is for someone to say anything bad about that. That just means they got an agenda. Then they're trying to find reasons to disqualify you, which is a huge thing. Like I'm not gonna. That's kind of a thing I'm trying to. I think I got the point across, but it's just.
Yeah.
It's like a different game for us.
Like some people in that world like would see this as wrong.
Only because we're doing it though. Like everybody else knows that it's right, but it's like a lot of times it's like people are looking for reasons to disqualify you if they don't believe the same things that you believe.
Right.
So, like, you'll see people on YouTube at Google, they'll tell you, like, dude, I use Google every day to figure out problems. Because it'd be impossible to, like, this is a lot of stuff. All this
Mm-hmm.
stuff here, like, come on, this is
Committed to memory, and
yeah, this is too much stuff.
I mean, over time, I feel like it's achievable, but got to really put in the groundwork.
Right.
So that's what I'm looking to do with all of this information here, just using it as a springboard to just not only learn but apply like right after.
Yep. Makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I can try everything I'm teaching you. You could basically make your own website, and then I mean, you can start making anything with this stuff, really. Like, but I'll try to get there.
Okay. I'm gonna actually also get another snip of this framework here we got and everything with everything added. So we get one of those. I get another snip.
Right.
Something I can just reference while I'm practicing.
Yep.
And then also too, what I'm gonna work on after we get wrapped up, try to catch the bank before 4, before it closes, so I can get some money on my card.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, once you feel like you are pushing it for that time, I mean, you could just let me know. Like,
Okay.
we can maybe finish up later, or we could finish up another day, or
Yeah.
not even really finish up, but just like
Kind of pick up where we left off.
yeah, try to find a spot to stop at.
Okay. Yeah, I did. I got the Riverside colors going here.
Oh yeah, I didn't even notice. So yeah, so okay, we got. I think you kind of got that understood a little bit. You can. There's things that they're all specific to each element though. Like there are some important elements. Like I'm gonna try to. Um, let's see. So the important elements are. I'm just gonna make another one. So H1 here, that's like that's just for words.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it's called a header, and then you can go from header 1 to header anything, like header 9, and then it's different sizes as you go. So H2 is like I'm gonna just start putting the header, so it's like
Okay.
H1, H2, H3, H4. Then there is A, and then there's button. Then there is image. Then and if you notice that the ones in the H2, they're actually at a smaller size than the H1,
Mm-hmm.
and that's by default. So then a super important one here is div, and then this one here called nav. So as far as CSS goes, div is actually the most important one because that's that's like the blank container that you get to use to put stuff in. So you can kind of see these two here, the H1, H2. So I'm gonna wrap these in a div. So I'm gonna write the div. I just do div and then press tab, and then I get both the opening and the closing. And I take this closing here, I move it to the bottom here to close it up, and then you can start editing this div right here. So I'm gonna show you another way of doing the. Actually, I'm gonna have you do something real quick. So,
Cool.
seeing this right here, the setup we got, the way we did the button with the colors and stuff, can you take the div and give it a background color of anything?
Okay.
So I want you to do it in the CSS. So I'm gonna push you in the right direction. So you want to do div, and then you want to do that opening closing bracket, like
Okay.
after 13. Yeah. So you just hit space, not space. And you just do div.
Okay. Yeah. codes.
And then you do the opening.
Tab, right?
Bracket.
Oh, not tab, my bad. Div, and then H2.
So next to P, the key to the right of P, you want to hold Shift and press that one. Yep, and then you want to hit Enter so you can open it up. And then in front of the D, I would just put the cursor there, and then I would press Enter to go on the next line for that one. Yep, I would even do a second time. Right? So spaces don't matter. Like, you can have as many spaces as you want in CSS. It doesn't matter if it looks bad. It's just kind of like for reading for yourself, it just looks better.
Mm-hmm.
So then you could do background color inside of those brackets. So I would just hit Enter and then type in background color.
Hey, do the caps lock matter?
No, it don't matter, but you do got to have a hyphen.
Okay. Oh yeah, go ahead. Okay.
Yep, so put a hyphen in between the D and the C. Yep, and then do the color, and then do a semicolon. And then, like we did earlier, you could do a hex or a name.
Okay.
So you can just type in like blue or salmon. Yep, and then do a semicolon. My bad. I said a semicolon for between color and orange. That's actually a colon.
Oh, okay. I think see, I gotta get versed with all of that.
Yeah.
Like even down to the language of keyboards and what means what, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I forget that that's like those little things are it's kind of confusing at first.
Yeah, so
Cuz it's like I'm looking at it. I've been looking at it for a while, so.
okay. Yeah, I feel like do you feel like it makes more sense to just start there? And maybe like, or I guess it's all relative.
Not necessarily, because I think that it's important to just start making stuff.
Yeah.
Because you can get trapped in learning all that stuff. The thing with all that stuff is it goes forever. Like you could never get started on anything.
Right.
So, I'm just trying to show you like things that you're definitely gonna use.
Okay. Oh, okay. So I see. Okay, so colon before orange, and then once I just want to see what different stuff. Okay, if I do another colon, it takes it away, or a semicolon. I mean,
You want a semicolon. So this, yeah, I mean, it's great that I forgot to tell you a super important thing about coding is that in coding, a semicolon marks the end of a instruction. Now, sometimes you don't need them. I would just do them always because you'd rather have them than not have them.
yeah, and you said it also helps as far as reading as well.
Yep.
So okay, and then I did the semicolon, and then got orange there. Try another color. Yep. How can I do this?
You can do
They're like baby blue.
like that's a nigga color. Niggas ain't make this. You better use Hex.
Oh man. Yeah, I'm even learning colors I've never heard of, man. Chartreuse blue. Okay. Let's try something else here. Try a hex this time. Okay.
Yep. So that's good. So now the way this is working is the div up here. I'm opening and closing it, so you can kind
Mm-hmm.
of see that inside of the div is these things. So the div ended up being a container for these two things.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can see over here, you got the color there. You're saying that I want the background of this container to be this color. And then
Mm-hmm.
over here, you can see that you have the result there. So now, make sure you put the semicolons there.
Oh,
Now,
oh, where's your cursor? Oh, right there. Okay.
yeah,
After the hex.
yep,
All right. Let me try that quick, just for good practice,
all right,
because that basically is the end of a command.
yep.
If I don't put nothing there, it doesn't know. It doesn't know how. It's not gonna know how to pan it out, I guess.
It's not gonna know that it ends. So it's a computer, so it's taking in bits, ones and zeros. So it reads every 1 and 0. I mean, we're getting real deep right now, but it
Yeah,
reads
yeah.
every 1 and 0 as data. So sometimes it doesn't know. Like, let's say, for example, I don't put the semicolon there. And on the
Mm-hmm.
next line, I was finna show you about padding, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it won't know that this line ended. So it thinks that padding is part of this right here. Because it doesn't
Right.
know how to read, like, white spaces. So, like, you hit enter, it does the next line. It doesn't know that that's a new line, so like it'll ruin everything underneath it. Like that padding doesn't work now. Um, it just ends up ruining everything underneath it. Whereas just having it there, fix it would have
Fixed it.
yeah. So a lot of times you'll have a problem in your code, and it'll literally just be that. So
Okay.
yeah. So I'm gonna just show you real quick that you could do padding. Actually, I'm gonna let you do it.
All right.
You could do like a padding of like 10.
Okay. Let me see here.
So you want to do a regular colon there because you're assigning it something.
Okay. So a regular colon, a a colon, basically assigns a command, maybe.
Yep, and that's in CSS.
Okay. Padding.
You could do like 10 pixels. So padding is that space around the words, and then you can hit semicolon. So can you see that like you don't have the semicolon, but it's still putting
Yeah.
the
It's
padding
not.
there.
It's like kind of under it, but it's like they're touching. Now they're not touching.
Well, I would hit a semicolon.
Mm-hmm.
So without the semicolon there, the computer still understood that that padding is there.
Mm-hmm.
Like the semicolon doesn't really change anything. Now the problem is once you get to adding more stuff. So let's do a margin of 30 pixels. So now the computer doesn't know that this line is a new command because it doesn't have that semicolon there. So this isn't getting read. So a lot of times you'll see someone else's work and then you'll want to edit it and then you might break it and you won't know why. It's usually a semicolon. So once I put it there, then it knows that this margin exists because that's what margin's doing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Let's see. Oh, okay. Margin 30 picks. And then it moves it as well. Man.
all right, we're gonna do two more things and then I could probably let you go. I do want to explain the theory just a little bit more after these two more things. The two are gonna be easy,
Mm-hmm.
and then that'd be a lot for you to kind of
Yeah,
meditate.
it'd be something I could chew on for a bit, but um I definitely want to keep going at this, man. I want to keep going with this. So.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
So the next thing here is, I'm gonna make the button do something. So JavaScript is the way that you make things interactive. So, for example, there's these things called functions, and with functions, you tell the computer that you're doing stuff. So, for example, down here, I'll type in console.log, then I'll do like thunder
Okay.
with an exclamation point. So console.log, there's this thing down here called the console. That's kind of like the terminal, like the you ever went to run on your computer?
I like what commands.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that right here, this is telling the console to log out this thing here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now on here in the button, there's this thing called onClick equals, and then you got to put the name of a function in there. But before you put the function in there, you have to make the function. So this is kind of like the part that you're gonna probably. I'm kind of setting up the next lesson right here.
Okay.
Is with functions. Functions are a little difficult. So with functions, you got to say function, and then you got to put these little open, close parentheses, and then you got to do the braces again. So the braces are pretty much used a lot. Well, actually, you do function, and then you give it a name. So we're gonna do. You can put literally any name. Like I could put TWTW, like just to be ridiculous, and then inside of here, inside the braces, you are giving the command there. So these are commands that don't get called until this function gets called.
Mm-hmm.
So just to demonstrate here, I'm going to go ahead and clear the command line. So that's going to get rid of everything that was there. So then this function here, I'm going to call this function. So the way you do it is you take the blue part, which is the name. So you do TWTW, then you do the open close, right? And then it does it. It says Thundercats because right here I told it to do it.
Okay.
Right? So
Definitely.
So here on the on-click takes functions. So up there I could do TWTW with that, right? Then I'm gonna clear it again. So then once you click the button, then it's telling the computer that I want to run this function, right? So it's not gonna run it until you click it. So then you click it, and then it just keeps calling it.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
So we can give. We've already kind of set up exactly what the button. Basically, everything we're setting up here, we have commands in there. They've responded to those commands. Now we're giving it basically more commands with. When I click on this button, this is what I want you to do.
Yep, and that's like 80% of it. Like the things I just showed you right here, this is really 80% of programming.
Okay.
Now, everything else you do is kind of working with that. So, like, I'm gonna do one more thing right here. Is there's an image. Were you good on that, or do you need to? You got another question?
As far as the JS, right?
Yep.
We've given it functions already. Then the console log. So basically, we want that button to say Thundercats when we press on it.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. Good.
Yep. So then I could do like there's other things you could do too. So that's the beauty of this W3 schools is it has it all here. It has the HTML, CSS, JavaScript. And this is all stuff that you could get into also. I would just stick to these three to start off with. Really just these two to start off with. HTML, CSS. And then JavaScript is like, once you're doing JavaScript, you're kind of like, you ready to work for sure.
Yeah.
So I was gonna do alert Thundercat. So then, you press it and then it gives you an alert.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's just something built in. There's a lot of things built in. Another thing is that anything that's not in a function is actually ran right away. So as soon as the page loads. So CodePen is a little awesome, but it's kind of tricking you a little bit, but it's not though. Because with CodePen, each time you make a change here, it updates right away.
Mm-hmm.
So in the real coding, the ones that the old dudes get mad at me about, it didn't used to work this way. So you didn't get to see your things right away. You had to type it in, then you had to save it, then you had to go check it to make sure it worked. So it wasn't like instant gratification like this.
Okay.
So anything you put in here, it gets called right away. So each time you put anything, it's calling it. It does like an auto save and then it puts it out. So you can see each button I push. There's like a little delay period. So down here, I'm kind of showing you that this is getting called right here. This console.log.
Mm-hmm.
So every time you do it, it resets. Then it does another one.
Oh, okay. I see. It's slowly but surely moving.
Yeah, it's like hot loaded. So each different thing you put in there, it waits till you're done typing, and then it says, "Okay, I see you're done typing. Let me show you what you just did."
Oh, okay.
And
It's kind of the equivalent of like when I use Weebly and I make an edit on a certain page, I have to publish the site and then go to the website to see it.
yep. So that's the way it kind of used to work. It's kind of slower.
Console log. Whether
Yeah, you can type anything in there.
okay.
All right. Let's try to. I'm gonna find a picture.
Okay. He said he got the dogs. Airbud. Oh.
No man, I went to the Shih Tzu
Yeah, $5,000 dog.
for real. Airbud.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. So there's another tag here called image. So an image has you can see I put the image between the button and the div. Wherever you put it, that's the way it's gonna show up on the website. So if I put it there, then it's gonna show up between there. If I put it at the bottom, then it's gonna show up at the bottom over here. So the important part, this alt part is not important, but this source right here, that's where you give it the actual URL of image, and it only works with URLs. You can't get an image into a website any other way.
Okay.
So you'd have to find a way to host your images. A really kind of ghetto ways I've done it is like you can use Facebook, but then Facebook changes the URLs sometimes, so then it'll break it. But I'll just put the dog in there just so you can see. Got your boy.
$5,000 Shih Tzu.
Man.
Get him now.
Buy now.
We're shipping right to your house. Oh, so when you hit buy now, it also shows the Thundercats, the console .log, an embedded page says Thundercat.
Yeah, so that's giving an alert. So I changed it to alert over here instead of console.log.
Mm-hmm.
So they do two different things.
Wow. You just copy, and they said that's the only way to really get a image on your site.
Yeah, and then you could do it. You could do a background.
Oh, I've done this before on WordPress.
I'm sure. Yeah.
I've also done it with I guess you could say quote unquote stealing blog posts for my website, where I would basically copy the whole site, copy, paste into the, I guess, the HTML box. I would then publish that, and then I would literally have the whole post, including the video, which I would have to embed. I would have to embed the video, get the embedded code for it, and then put it in there. And that's how I would get my images.
Yep, you probably did it with like a. There's different ways to do it. You might use an iframe or something.
And I'm starting to see.
Yeah. Let me think of like a. I'm just trying to think of something cool.
You on the Surface Pro?
Right now I'm on the other computer that I was using, but I use the Surface Pro every day.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. We just gonna use this right here. So I'm gonna show you that you can resize. So just like we did the div up here,
Mm-hmm.
you can do images have the same thing. So images there's a CSS that's specific to images. So we could do like the two big ones are height and weight. So let's do like 50 pixels, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not weight, width. Right, so let's see. So it's kind of stretching in a way it doesn't want to be stretched because I don't have the exact like resolution of it, but just for demonstration. Then I put on the next line with this BR here. Then we're gonna do two more things, and I'm gonna just go through some theory, and then we can kind of be done with this.
Okay, cool.
So in order to do like a background on the whole site, you gotta do like on body, and then you do background, image, and it has like this source, and then you just put them in the colons or the apostrophe.
Mm-hmm.
So that didn't actually work because it's actually URL. And it's not Suro, it's actually just URL.
Oh, there we go.
All right, so we got that now. Then up here, you could do a nav bar. You could do it with, there's a nav tag, but really, some of these tags are just other tags with a different name. So really, a nav is just a list. So
pages.
Yeah, so you put links in there.
Okay.
So it's kind of difficult to explain. So because it's just like I'm throwing so much at you at the same time, and I'm not even realizing I'm doing it. So there's this thing called a list. So it's called a UL, and then in the list you have LIs in it, which are just kind of list items.
Mm-hmm.
So first I'm gonna style the nav to actually make it look like something. So let's say the nav. And then this is a background. Color is let's do pink. Let's do teal. Let's just stick with teal. Safe teal. So sometimes things come with margin. Like that came with margin, and you don't want that. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go to margin and do 0. And that should have worked. Let's see, padding. Oh, let's see. Padding is 0 pixels. All right, so that is actually not working. So the way I'd figure that out is I go to inspect. And then there's this little button with an arrow here that you start highlighting stuff, and it shows you exactly the piece you're looking at.
Mm-hmm.
So I see here, it's actually the UL that has the margin on it, so I have to go. I'm going kind of fast because.
No, that's cool. I feel like that's the best way. Like I just see everything, just kind of get thrown in the fire. Pick up, just keep picking up.
Yeah. So let's see. So there's some more padding here. Now that I got rid of the padding on the UL, I'm trying to figure out the padding for, because there's still a space there. Oh, so that's actually on the body. So the body is, everything is inside the body. So I actually forgot a semicolon there. So the body needs no padding in order to make it just stick to the wall. There we go. Finally. So I'm gonna go back up to the nav. Let's do a height. Let's do 20 pixels. It's kind of like the sweet number. Let's do 50 pixels.
Oh, so header, literally.
Yep. So let's do border bottom.
Haha. Evil
Pixels.
genius laugh. Straight up, because it's like,
Please do. Like 3 pixels there. Alright, so it's kind of like your header there. So that's basically just styled. So that's the only way to make a nav bar is you gotta kind of style it yourself. And then inside of here, you can start putting stuff in here like
list, LI, short for list.
yeah, list item.
Oh, list item, okay.
Yeah, so UL is unordered list and then LI is list item. So you're gonna type home. Right, okay, LI. And that's just a word. Like it's not like a link or anything for right now. What else we want on our dog selling site?
Types of dogs.
Types. Let's see what else.
Contact.
Yep, contacts. Right.
Maybe like media, videos.
Yeah, we could do like content. And then let's do an about. Jeez. Right. So now these are all like on top of each other right here. And they're going outside because I explicitly told the header that it has to be the way I want it to be. It has to be 50 pixels. The border has to be 3 pixels. It has to be teal, all that. So this doesn't that doesn't apply to those rules. So it does whatever it wants. So you have to specifically tell it to do the things you want it to do. So let's see. So the LIs are the things that are inside the UL. So just say that those are display inline. So then I put some next to each other. Right, and then this is actually pretty important right here.
Inline display.
Yeah. Then you could do the font, the color. Make it white. Then you could put some padding. 10 pixels. Give them some space. That works. Alright, give them a little space.
Okay.
Let's see. Then to make them actually links, you gotta use this thing called an A tag, so that makes it a link. So the A comes with an href, and that points it to another page of your website.
Okay.
And then you want to make sure that every page of your website uses the same kind of format. Like you want to make sure you use the same type of header, the same type of vibe with the buttons, all that stuff. Just
Mhm.
it's kind of the direction that we've gone with the web. Like it's just kind of a consensus. So we can agree on some things.
For sure.
So yeah, that makes a link, and then there's not an actual website, so it actually just took you nowhere. But we could put like google.com in there. You actually just want to go to page 2. Call/google.com. And when I click on this, it'll take me to Google. That actually didn't work for some reason. That actually doesn't make sense for me. Well, it works that way. It doesn't make sense that it's not working.
Mhm.
So I'm just gonna delete
H,
that.
it's the H reference.
Yeah. So that's kind of most of it. Another thing is that you can put things in columns and organize things. But that's basically most of the way a website works. You can get these things on the left side or right side by doing other things. But the last thing I'm just going to try to explain some of the rest of the theory, and then kind of it's like I'm giving you the beginning introduction, plus I'm also giving you the conclusion, and then you can kind of, as you go along, you can kind of see that you kind of are interacting with the middle all day, every day.
Mhm.
So yeah, front end is super important for a website. You're gonna use front end when you're using WordPress, making your own theme, making your own website. So WordPress is actually a back end, but it has front end stuff in it. So the term for something that is both front end and back end is full stack.
Okay. Full stack. Full stack.
Yeah. So some full stack applications are WordPress, Shopify. Those are kind of the two big ones right now. I don't necessarily use Shopify. Basically, like at least a third of the internet uses WordPress. So that's a pretty big chunk. Like, a third of the phones in the world are Android. So like that's kind of the equivalent. Like WordPress kind of runs the internet.
Mhm.
Everything has a back end, which is the server communicates that way. The client is the HTML, CSS, the front end. So I was trying to say earlier that you really just need one of these backends. Python is kind of popular, PHP, Node.js, and Java. So Java is kind of like I said, you're gonna get like corporate jobs, just with people that dress really fancy and are basically actors at work.
Yeah. Talk about how to have wine and cheese.
Facts, yeah. Talk about their weekends that their dad, their resorts, and then you can't relate to them, and you don't have anything to talk about.
I can't wait. No, I'm just kidding.
So I mean, the money's great though, if you could just deal with that. So basically, PHP. I'm gonna say PHP is the backend that you should use because WordPress is PHP
Mhm.
and the backend, like it's built with PHP. So there's these things called frameworks that are made to make your coding easier. So all this stuff we did here, like when you actually decide to make a full application, even a web app, there's these things called frameworks that are kind of these new technologies that are trending, and that's basically the way you get a job is through a framework. So we can get to those later. They're not that important to start out with, but basically when you look at job boards, it's all these kind of frameworks. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a way to describe a framework. It's like you're at church, right? So it's like there's a certain like kind of social framework that you kind of operate under in that scenario. Then you're at work, there's like a different framework that you operate under. Then you're with your friends. There's like another social framework that you work under. So it's kind of the same with these frameworks. It's like certain frameworks are for making apps, certain are for making music stuff. Like the one I use for that drum machine is called Tone.js. So it's like it says here, it's a framework for creating music in the browser.
Mm-hmm.
So it's using something else and it's making it simpler for me. It's making this thing called the Web Audio API. It's basically just making it easier to use it, but it's not really making it easy though. It's really difficult because with frameworks you have to know the things that they're making a framework of in order to have it be useful. So WordPress is a PHP framework. Now, learning WordPress is actually super difficult because you have to know PHP in order to do it. You have to know the way that PHP works in order for WordPress to, like, I'm trying to describe this better. So it's like in basketball, it's like there's the rules of basketball, but then there's like the shoes that you wear, and it's like the shoes are important that you choose the right shoes, and choosing the wrong shoes is not going to kill you, but choosing the right shoes is going to definitely take you to a higher level than someone with the wrong shoes on.
Yeah, choosing the wrong ones might kill you. I think I got my ankles broken, man. I had a pair of Chuck Taylors on.
No, you can't hoop in Chucks.
Yeah, the man had me skating.
Of course.
Yeah.
You rub the bottom of some Chucks, you basically sliding. Let's see. What else here? So, yeah, there's backend frameworks, and the biggest one is called like Laravel, but you kind of you can probably skip that part just by doing WordPress. WordPress to get you far. I'll just tell you, like, get you really far is it's like doing the front end 3 languages, because you need all 3 of them to do that.
HTML, CSS, JS.
Yep. Then WordPress is like the full stack way of working with things. And then the back end that WordPress uses is PHP. So this right here, you can make a career with just these right here. You could start your own company. You could work for people with this stuff right here.
Okay, I'm just saving this other screenshot. I'm just gonna get a snip of that as well.
Yeah.
Front end. That could be, I guess that could be like my homework. Just focusing, on these 3 here. Just getting to know the ins and outs, the fundamentals of that, and then I guess it's more so my framework of getting into this world.
Yep.
So
Exactly. And it's you can kind of chill on like, you don't have to learn the PHP right now. You also don't have to learn the JavaScript right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna try to do a different color. Like, you could do the JavaScript layer, you could do PHP later. But they are important. They're super important. But you could get a lot of money. You can make tons of money just knowing HTML, CSS, WordPress. So I kind of want to push you in a direction that will give you the most flexibility, because a lot of these languages, now this is really the trick that no one tells you, is that there are directions that you could go in technology that will lock you in to doing one thing and you can't expand. And it's like, you can't, for example, JavaScript and Python, you can make video games with, you can make music applications with pretty easily. Now, Java, you kind of can too, but it's like a totally different type of scenario. But, I might be explaining that wrong. Yeah, I might be explaining that wrong. Basically, though, it's just like, this is kind of like the ideal scenario. Like, JavaScript and PHP is the way to make money, is the way I'm trying to describe it. because Java, like, even though you can make games with it, like, you're not gonna make any money making games for a living, and also neither of us. I'm not gonna try to limit you, but I'm just trying to say that neither of us could get into the gaming industry, almost guaranteed, just off of culture.
Just off a face card.
Yeah, just off the face, just off the pigment. So yeah, there's these other things called like MVC frameworks, and those are just another level. But once you know PHP or JavaScript, then the next direction to go is like Laravel or one of these different frameworks that are basically like alternatives to WordPress.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's basically it.
Now what you say, the Django, Adonis just
Yeah, Dns JS.
Adonis JS. Are those, would you say, are more advanced levels of kind of what we're doing,
Absolutely.
or just another level of that type of work?
I would say that it's both advanced and it's also another level because although it is advanced, it's doing the same things that you do in WordPress. It's just doing it differently. So, like, everything you could do in Laravel or Django, you can do in WordPress for the most part because WordPress is just like this really cool thing that this dude came up with. Like, this dude in like the year 2004, he would like spin. You ever heard of polyphasic sleep cycles?
Yeah.
Man, this dude would like do a polyphasic sleep cycle for 2 years straight, and he made WordPress by doing it that way. Like, this dude must have been optimizing. So he came up with WordPress by himself, one guy, and like has made so much impact.
For sure.
So yeah, basically the Laravel and Django Adonis.js, that's just those are backends. So that's just your places that you're gonna do your data storage. And that's another lesson that is I forgot about SQL. So that's the only thing I forgot about though.
Wait, what is SQL? Is another version of PHP, basically.
So I can do a real quick picture for you to just wrap it all up. And I think it'll make sense. So I actually just take these pictures we got right now. So we got the front end, right? We got the back end, right? And then in between here, so the back end is the database is in MySQL.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's like this middle land that they don't the industry doesn't have a name for, but it definitely exists, and that's the PHP, which is the communication between the back end and the front end.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So right here, this is the place that let me think of a good way to describe this. Man, it's so hard to describe because it's like a really intelligent concept. But WordPress handles these two parts for you. It handles the PHP with the MySQL. And then the front end is kind of your responsibility if you want to do your own custom theme, or if you also want to. You could also use pre-made themes, which gets you around the need to code your own themes, which is fine. It's really totally 100% cool to use like pre-made themes. You just gotta make sure that it looks good for your business, because it can get hard to just kind of throw your stuff into someone else's design. So yeah, the front end is HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and then it communicates with the back end, which is the database, which is MySQL, and the PHP is the communication between the two.
Okay. Man, this is a hell of a chart, though, man.
Yeah.
It's just showing everything, man. Also, man, if possible, you think you'd be able to share that with me?
Yeah, I can share this with you. I can make the link.
Appreciate it, man. Because I can use that for study material.
Yeah, I got this recorded too. I could put it on YouTube or something. I could put it either private or I could put it public. I mean, it depends on your comfort.
I'm with it. If you want to post it online, that works for me.
All right, I could put your information in there too, just since you're the other side, just in case. Maybe as a YouTube coder, maybe I get some traction as a black coder. You never know.
Yeah,
So yeah, I'll do that.
yeah, let's do that, man. Now super appreciate it too. I'm basically looking now. I just need a more so a strategy to go about it. More of a springboard, because like I was telling you recently, there's so much information out there that um, with so much information out there, some could possibly be misinformation.
Right.
And it's just better to get the info right from the source rather than going out there wasting a lot of time getting into learning something that I'm sure can be applicable, but not to what I'm trying to do.
Absolutely, because there's a lot of the industry is overrun with like people that are selling. Basically, they're selling these types of ways to make money that you got to learn all these things that kind of aren't related. Like you ever you get those ads for like people with you click on it and they're like, I got this webinar, and a lot of times the webinar isn't really teaching you nothing.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of people like that. So I would say that the next thing I could teach you is just straight in with WordPress, and that's gonna be heavy. I was gonna tell you it's real heavy.
Yeah.
But that is the next place for sure, because it uses all this stuff. So that's kind of the strategy going forward. Is honestly, okay, I can give you kind of a strategy. I would go to codepin.com and on the front page, right here, you can search anything. You could just do like, let's do like homepage or do like portfolio page. Look up people's like homepage portfolio pages. Then you get all these results. And I would try to find one that looks at least halfway decent. Some of these don't. Like this one looks okay. It kind of looks crazy. Let's see. This one looks pretty good. This dude made a demo page for a plugin. So in here you can see everything he did in the HTML over here.
Mm-hmm.
So after the header, you can see that he has like the H1 here. I would just start messing with stuff. So you see it says scroll nav. I would just type something else in there, and you see it changed to water.js.
Wow. Yeah.
So you can just start messing with other people's
Results
stuff.
are to the point where the results are instant.
Yep.
Okay.
Right. So that's a good thing to do. Another thing is that you're in here. You see all these tags that are kind of like orange or gold or something. This weird brown color.
Yeah.
So anytime you see one you don't know, I would just look it up on W3 Schools. Try to find the tag. Tags are HTML. So let's see. Tag. They're called elements, I believe. I'm not really seeing it, but they're in here. Let's see tags. Oh, this is perfect right here. HTML tag list, the HTML reference. So the references are super good because that gives you all the tags, and then once you see one that you don't know that you see on actual website, I would make sure that I would just learn the ones that you see on websites because there's so many that don't get used, and then you just be learning stuff that doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
So then another thing you could do is any website you're on that you see, I would go ahead and inspect them, check them out, and that's gonna get you really far the way there.
But I see they have it. They have it even. broken down to where they have console, sources, network, performance, memory.
Oh yeah. So
Like it's broken down into every aspect.
yeah, let me explain this real quick because this is important too. So over here you got the console, and clicking this button in the top left corner, it lets you highlight it, and it tells you the name. So right there it says div. That one says image, so I'm highlighting the image, so it says image. And then that blue stuff, I would ignore that stuff for now. So for example, let's click on this right here, this div right here. So check it out. So down here, it says styles. You gotta kind of scroll it to look right. So it has like the background color here, so you can go in. Actually didn't work. Let's see. Background color, background. Oh, they're using a gradient. Oh yeah, I changed it. Yeah, there it is. Right, so I can go in. I can just mess with it. I didn't type gray. I definitely typed green. Yeah, so you can go and mess with other people's websites, and that'll really get you kind of bringing it full circle. Because then you'll see the things that they're doing that you don't understand how to do, and then it's just a matter of taking yourself from the place you are to the place you see.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would just do that stuff, and I don't know. You feeling like you can go on your own a little bit?
For sure, man. A lot of information, man. I got a lot to reference now. I feel like I have more of a foundation of information where I can reference when I'm going back and forth. Especially what's super helpful, I feel like, is the inspect option, because then you literally get the breakdown of the website and how it's designed, and you can kind of reference that with kind of like what I'm working on in code. Yeah. So.
Yep. So up here, this one right here called elements. This is the HTML, and then down here it says styles. This is the CSS. So yeah, that's. Make sure I get that across.
For sure, man. For sure. Nah, but super helpful, man. Like, super appreciative. I have a more clear, concise way to think about this, because there's all these different languages, and not saying all of them are not applicable, but there are some more relevant than others in this time. So
Absolutely. And then there's it's just like it's like philosophy. It's like everybody has their own philosophy of the way to do things, but this is kind of like a process that over the learning that I've done, I've just kind of seen the direction that the tech world is going in, and this is kind of the direction for it, for sure. Like, at least to start. Because with WordPress, you can do anything with it, and then by knowing your fundamentals, like your foundations, plus having references, that's basically everything.
Absolutely, yeah, and I can see it here, and like you were saying as well earlier, you mentioned that you've probably run across this a million times. It was right in your face, but you didn't realize it until you've seen what happens in the back end. Yep. So yeah, most def. But yeah, I'm gonna try to get to the bank before they close, man. If you could hit me up with that the Venmo info. We can go from there, man. But just a token of appreciation, man. You would take your time out and give me this introductory course, so to speak, for this world. So super appreciated, bro.
Yeah, for sure, all day. Let me know if you got time, anytime to keep going. I mean, I'm applying to jobs and stuff. I don't have one yet, but I got time. So I think the next step will be doing WordPress setup, and then you basically ready to work after that. So.
Most def.
I'm gonna let you head to the bank. I'm gonna send you the link to the theory. I'm also sending you my Venmo, and yeah, man, just have a great day.
Appreciate you, dog. Appreciate you, man. Well, yeah, I'm gonna definitely be in touch with you after I make these runs, man, and then we'll just go off from there.
Okay, for sure.
All right, bro.
All right,
Peace.